Hi everybody, welcome to another week of Makers Monday. I am Anastasia Radloff, aka Stampin Blondie, and I'm really looking forward to creating with you live step-by-step here on Facebook today. Now let me just make sure that I am live here on Facebook so that I can follow along with your comments. If you're joining me here, Blondie, and I'm really there we go. If you are joining me here live on Facebook, make sure to comment, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see where everybody is joining me from each week. If you're joining me here on my YouTube page or watching replay via my Facebook page, make sure to comment, replay, and let me know that you were able to join along with me this week. So looks like I am all live here today. Hi Dawn, thanks for watching. I hope you had a great weekend. I had an amazing weekend. I was able to celebrate some of my team members on my team that had reached the level of silver, which is a leadership position. So we were able to have fun. We crafted together. We made some projects with the new products that I'm going to show you guys here today. We were able to have lunch, a cider toast, and just really have some fun recognition and training for my team this weekend. It was a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing that again around April. It should be a really fun time, and I hope that we have more silvers being able to join us next time. So looks like we've got a good crowd here today. Now I'm going to be creating two projects featuring the new Eden's Garden bundle and coordinating products. Now, Eden's Garden is actually a stamp set and die bundle that will be in the upcoming 22 January through June mini catalog. Can you believe that we are only 2 months away from 2022? Like, where did the time go? I swear we were just at the beginning of October and now we're at the beginning of November, and these new products will be releasing tomorrow for everybody to be able to purchase. But as a perk of being a demonstrator, we get to pre-order these items a month ahead of time to create some little fun projects for you guys here today. So hi Lisa, hi Becky, thanks for joining me this week. So today I'll be featuring a 3D project and also a card that features the Eden Garden stamp set dies. Actually, yes, the dies, and the coordinating Ever Eden specialty designer series paper. Now, the Ever Eden, I get it confused with Evening Evergreen because it's actually one of the colors in the patterns, but the Ever Eden Specialty Designer Series paper and the Coordinating Garden Gems are while supplies last. So these are, you're gonna wanna grab them as soon as they go live tomorrow because they are so beautiful and I'm excited to show you guys them today. All right, if you are new, each week I do something called Prize Patrol. So let's go ahead and swap the camera here today. Now our Prize Patrol for last week, let me grab it here, was actually a package of the Ever Eden 12x12 Specialty Designer Series paper. Now I created my little layout like I always do each week, showing you guys the different designer series papers that are in this package. One side of the designer series paper has this really pretty gold foiling, and then the other side has evening evergreen and soft succulent tones throughout the paper. The best part about this is that it's perfect for Christmas crafting. So I am so excited to be able to create Christmas projects with this, and this paper right here is definitely my favorite. So I hope you guys can see the kind of gold with the light hitting it there. So the coordinating colors in this are Evening Evergreen, Soft Succulent, and Gold. Excuse me. And I really love this paper. So this is a while supplies last item. during this promotion. And the winner of our Ever Eden Designer Series paper is Dawn. So congratulations, Dawn Woolsett. She is watching. I know she was commenting there earlier. So congratulations to Dawn. She gets this beautiful Ever Eden Specialty Designer Series paper, and it is a really pretty to be able to create with. Now this week's prize patrol is something that is really fun as well. Of course, they're always fun, prize patrols, but the winner of this week's prize patrol will receive the seasonal labels dies. Now these dies come, and it's actually a two for die set. These are really fun dies to be able to use with I used it last week during my Christmas card class with the Christmas to Remember stamp set. So it's actually one stamp set from one bundle and the dies from a different bundle. And so these are the seasonal labels dies, and these are our prize patrol items for this week. So all you have to do, if you are new, welcome. I do a prize patrol each week, and all you have to do is share this video to be entered to win. That's it. Super easy. Now you have to comment that you shared after you did it, because sometimes Facebook security settings don't always let me know who has shared. So comment, share below, and obviously share the video with your friends to be entered to win the seasonal labels dies. Very fun and pretty. Yes, military wives are amazing party planners. I love planning a good party. I did last year for my husband's work, we did a flannel and frost party. So we all wore flannel get up, and we had ice cream even though it was January, but we live in Tucson, so there really is no winter here. But it was a lot of fun, and hosting the silver event was definitely the highlight of my weekend. Okay, Ever Eden Specialty Designer Series paper. This is a Wall Supplies Last item for November, starts tomorrow. The second Wall Supplies Last item are these garden gems. Now let me take them out of this package because I hope you guys can see. This is probably my favorite gems that we've ever had. So they have these really pretty cherry cobbler jewels, and then these ones are soft succulent, but they're like the marquee. I think it's called the marquee shape. But we haven't had gems this shape before, so it's really fun to be able to have a different shape of products to be able to work with. But my favorite, definitely these cherry cobbler, and let me see if I can hold them up a little higher. It's like cherry cobbler, but then it also has like a red, green, iridescent tone to it. Beautiful gems. So we're going to be using these on our projects today. So I'm just going to put them off to the side. So there is a whole flyer on the Eden's Garden items that will be available tomorrow. Now these are available November 2nd to January 3rd. Now the Designer Series paper and the gems are Wall Supplies Last, but the following items will be carrying over to the 22 January through June mini catalog. So the Eden's Garden stamp set, let me try to get the glare off of there. This is a cling mount stamp set, so your traditional red rubber. These are the stamps we're going to be using today. I already got them on our blocks. But our cling mount stamp set, if you follow along, you know that I love stamp sets that have sentiments and images with it. So perfect choice for me. Now this is called a distinctive stamp set. Distinctive, meaning that it's going to give you more of a realistic image when you stamp. So it's not going to be completely filled in. It does, you can see on this one here, it kind of has a variation of light and dark tones on the stamp. So it is meant to look like that. And then we have the coordinating Eden dies. I'm going to actually be using this long one here for our project today. But the Eden dies, very intricate, very detailed dies. They look great when you cut out gold foil that coordinates with the Specialty Designer Series paper. But the Eden dies and the bundle, all these items can be purchased individually as the bundle here, or as a suite with all of the items together. And then one last product that is kind of new to Stampin' Up. I don't think we've had this in the 11 years that I've been a demonstrator. So this comes together. This is the Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent Cotton Paper. So it's very thin. One side has like a smooth, it's not like wax paper, but it does have like a little bit of a thin waxy feel to it, where the other side is more matte. And this will be perfect for putting in gift bags or shredding to make little treat boxes that you put stuffing into. And I'm sure I'm gonna come up with some other thoughts about what to do with this, but this is the cotton paper. So on our flyer that Stampin' Up! Has, you can have the Eden's Garden bundle with the cling set and the dies. All can be purchased individually. The designer series paper, the cotton paper, and the garden gems all individually. Or we have the collection, which is everything, all one item number, very simple to order with that. All right, so obviously today our focus is the Eden Garden collection. So let me bring in our two projects that we're going to be creating here today. Now, we made a variation of these this weekend at my silver event, but these are different than what we created. So very fun to make these. Now, this little card is kind of a different fold than what we're used to. Normally we have like the book style or the easel style. So we have this fold here. And then this little milk crate, which will be really fun to be putting little chocolates in here. Those Ferrero Rocher, I think that's how I say it, the little gold round candies would fit in here and work great. And then, you know, all the other gold candies that we have for Christmas. So this would be perfect for little table settings at Thanksgiving or Christmas time. So perfect for that. Now, before I get into that, one thing I want to, two things that I always forget to do. Up on my website, stampinblondie.com, today I announced my newest class, my monthly class. It is featuring the Delivering Cheer stamp set. Now, this is actually a watercolor class. So you'll create 4 different projects, 2 of each design. And this is co-partnered with my Canadian demonstrator friend, Lisa Hardy from Sweet Paper Studios. So this month we're featuring the Delivering Cheer stamp set, and you'll receive a full package of the 6x6 Neutrals Designer Series paper, a full package of the jewels, the basic pearl jewels, and a roll of, I don't have the ribbon in here, it's the Very Vanilla lace ribbon. Now, because this is a watercolor class, you can add on our watercolor bundle. So it includes watercolor pencils, 3 of these water painters. They have different brush sizes. There's like a big flat one, a big regular brush, and a thin brush. Stays on ink. If you are watercoloring, you definitely want to use Stays on ink. If you follow my videos a lot, I do how do you know which black to use when you're crafting. And so watercolor pencils, I always say stinky versus non-stinky. Stays on is very stinky, where watercolor pencils have no smell to them at all. If you were using Stampin' Blends markers, they are alcohol based, so they definitely have a smell to them. And then you would use Tuxedo Black Memento ink, which has no scent to it at all. So if you want to watercolor with us, we have this watercolor add-on. You definitely need Stays On Cleaner if you're using Stays On ink. It is a special kind of ink. This is a solvent ink pad, and when it says Stays On, it literally stays on to everything. So you can stamp on glass, wood, ceramic, basically anything that's not paper with Stays On. And you need a specific cleaner when using Stays On, especially with the stamp set that we're using. This Delivering Cheer is a photopolymer stamp set, meaning it is the completely see-through and clear. So definitely want to use StazOn cleaner if you want to use StazOn with your photopolymer stamp set. Details on this are on my website, stampinblondie.com, and there will be a registration link and link to details in the description of this video once I am done here today. So the deadline to register for that is November 12th, and then they will be shipping out the end of November for that class. All right, our 2 projects today, if you are new, also on my website today, stampinblondie.com, I have this free project PDF with all the details of the projects that we are going to be creating here today. So it has the item names, item numbers, and prices for the products that I'll be using, as well as the dimensions of both of the projects. Now, if you place an order using my host code here of $35 or more, I will send you the pieces to be able to create the projects this week. The only thing that will be missing will be the stamped images. You can purchase the Eden's Garden stamp set, and then you can create the projects along with me, just as I am here today. But you can pair that project PDF with this video and create our projects for the week. All right, we are going to work on this card here first today. This is a card featuring the Evening Evergreen cardstock, which is perfect for upcoming holiday crafts. All right, so we have a piece of Evening Evergreen cardstock. This is 4 1/4 by 11. So we have an 8 1/2 by 11 sheet of cardstock, cut in half at 4 1/4, scored at 5 1/2. And like I said, all of these dimensions are on that PDF, so you don't have to write any of this down if you don't want to. All right, we burnished our score line with our bone folder, and we're actually gonna bring in our Stampin trimmer here. And I'll cut up here so you guys can see. We have our piece here, and we're gonna cut this at 2 3/4. So basically right in half of that first score piece. So see, right in half here, 2 3/4, and that is what we're going to turn horizontally, and that's gonna be our highlighted portion for the part that swings open here. So we're using all parts of the card base. And I have 2 pieces of the Ever Eden Designer Series paper, and it was really hard to decide, which side do I want to use because they're both beautiful. But we are going to feature the Soft Succulent on this part here. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal adhesive just to adhere that down to the card base. I apologize for the tickle I have in my throat. If you've followed my videos for the last few weeks, you can tell I've been having some breathing issues. I finally get to go to the doctor this week for it. Military doctors are very, very hard to get into. So I had to make an appointment, and it was like 3 weeks out. But I finally get to go this week and get to hopefully get some relief from what I am going through. All right, these pieces of Designer Series paper are both the same size. They are 2 1/2 by 4, because both of these pieces of cardstock are the exact same size as well. Now on this one, I'm gonna do the non-gold side because I don't want to take away from our stamped images that we've got here. Now for our little part that's going to swing open, we're only going to put adhesive on one side of this. If you put adhesive on the entire thing, you're going to glue your card together, and well, that's going to be what your card is for the recipient. So you just want to add a little bit of glue to the side that's going to adhere to the card base. So we'll put that right in the middle there, and see, no adhesive here, so you can open the card. A piece of basic white cardstock. This is 3 3/4 by 5 1/8, and I'm gonna bring in a piece of scrap paper because we're gonna do some stamp off. If you're not too familiar with the stamp off method, very, very easy. You don't need any technical skills for this. So we're gonna use the bigger stamp from the Eden's Garden stamp set and a soft succulent ink pad. Now I'll open this up to you and you guys can see it's very light and very faint, and we're gonna stamp off this so it's gonna be even lighter than if it was stamped and inked up normally. Because this is a bigger stamp, I like to turn my stamp upside down just to make sure I've got everything inked up. And to stamp off, you're gonna stamp on a piece of scrap paper first. And then we're gonna move to our, and I'm gonna move this here so that I stamp on top of it, because part of our image is gonna hang off the edge. Now without re-inking, we're just going to stamp this right onto our piece of cardstock. So the image is very faint. You can see the difference here, how dark this image is. This one is lighter, and I did that because I did not want to take away from the front of our card. I just wanted a little bit of something here on the inside, but it's not as bright. All right, scrap paper to the side, and now we're gonna adhere this to the inside of our project. Open that up, and that's gonna go right in the middle of our card there. All right, now it's just to decorate. So we are going to use, I have a spare piece of soft succulent cardstock down here, and we're going to stamp that same image again with soft succulent, but this is gonna be full force. So we're not gonna stamp off this one. So we're gonna ink it up, and we're gonna run it through, or we're gonna stamp it right onto our soft succulent. So right there onto the cardstock, tone on tone stamping. It looks darker. It looks like this was done maybe in like evening evergreen, but this is actually soft succulent. And our scissors, we're going to fussy cut this out. Unfortunately for this image, there aren't any coordinating dies, but it's very easy to fussy cut out. Now, as you see, as I cut along this, I am holding my scissors straight, but I'm turning my paper. I get better control of my cutting when I do this. So if I hold my paper and kind of turn it back and forth with my left hand, of course I'm right-handed, so I am doing this right-handed. If you're left, you could hold your scissors in your left and rotate with your right. But this image, with fussy cutting, you can get as close to the leaves as you want. I like to leave a little, it's not white space, but white space, soft succulent space around my image to make it kind of look like it was die cut. Usually with our dies, they have a little border around them, but this is very easy to fussy cut. It doesn't look like it, but you can get as really detailed into the crevices in there, but I just like to do a quick fussy cut around the leaves to be able to get there. Soft succulent is definitely one of my favorite colors. I love the in colors this year. I think they all work really, really well together. I was a little worried about, you know, seeing how different they are. You know, we have polished pink and then soft succulent, fresh freesia, and evening evergreen. And there's one more that is escaping me. Oh, pale papaya. And they definitely look like they don't go together, but when you craft with them, they fit perfectly together. I will be sad when Magenta Madness retires end of May next year, because Magenta Madness, I love hot pink. The brighter, the better. Okay, so I pre-cut with that die that I showed you earlier. Where did it go? Right here. So I pre-cut this die using this gold brushed paper. Now this is from the annual catalog. I want to show you guys where this is at, because this is actually a hidden gem and very, very easy to be missed. So on page 135, let me flip my catalog. In the lower left-hand corner, this itty-bitty little picture right here, this is the gold and rose gold 6x6 specialty metallic paper. So it comes obviously rose gold and gold, but it's so easy to be missed because it's just this little tiny picture here. But page 135, this is different than the brushed metallic in our mini catalog. So totally different textures. This has like a rigid texture to it. So what we're going to do is we are going to use some of our multi-purpose liquid glue. Because this has like a slick back, you want to use just a little bit of liquid glue in the middle of it, and it's going to hang off the edge here so that when it opens, you can see that it's poking through here a little bit. All right, I've got from that spare piece of soft succulent cardstock, we're gonna stamp our sentiment. Now this one is going to be an evening evergreen. I wanted the sentiment to be dark and it to really kind of stand out. And this is just a spare piece of paper, so no specific size. I just stamped my sentiment and I'm gonna cut around that to cut this out. So got my scissors here and we're just gonna cut straight across. They'll reach. There we go. And then trim down the bottom. If you want to use your paper trimmer, you can do this as well, but you can see how easy it is just to slightly cut this freehand as well. All right, now the edges we're going to cut at an angle, and I like to do both, even though you can't really see the second one. So both are cut at an angle, and we're gonna glue that right on top of our gold die cut piece. And I'm gonna use liquid glue on this and just a strip right down the middle. You don't wanna add too much glue to it or it'll kinda ooze out because it's not flat against the back of the card. It's just kind of popped up a little onto that gold piece. All right, the back of this our fussy cut soft succulent, we're gonna add Stampin' Dimensionals. And I've got about 8 of these half-used Stampin' Dimensional sheets. So we're gonna start from the one that is the least or the most used, and our paper moved here a little. That's why I like to use the liquid glue, because you can kind of shift and shimmy it around before it's fully dry. And then we're just gonna place that onto our card and have a little bit of that gold peeking out there. Some Wink of Stella, and we're just gonna add a little bit of glitter to some key parts here of the project. If you're not too familiar with what Wink of Stella is, it's a glitter brush. It's perfect because you can control the amount of glitter that you have on your project, and it's buildable. So if you don't like the outcome of one layer of glitter, you can add another and it's not messy. All right, the final touch is 2 of these marquees, gems right in the upper right hand corner of our card. Let me get a drink here, sorry. All right, there is our first project today, featuring the I keep calling it Evening Evergreen, Ever Eden Specialty Designer Series paper with the Eden's Garden stamp set and coordinating dies, which are available starting tomorrow. So it is really pretty. Here's the inside of the card, really soft, really pretty, and there is our side-by-side. So I hope you guys like this card. Let me know what you think in the comments. Seems like everybody likes this one here today. All right, next up is this really fun little milk crate. Now, like I said, I don't have anything in mind, but you can put some chocolates or little trinkets for Christmas coming up You may be able to put like a gift card. So here's a business card. Let's see. It may be, the business card's a little too tall, so a gift card may not fit in here, but you can always put a little chocolate in here and gift this with a gift card. So very fun for that. Okay, here we go. We're gonna create our little milk crate. So let me swap out some of our supplies. I made little templates for this so that I don't confuse myself on where I'm cutting. And it looks like my video may be cutting in and out a little bit. If I am, this is all being recorded, so you can always jump back and rewatch some sections if you are missing some parts here today. Nobody else is home, so there shouldn't be any issues with the internet, but you know, technology, it's out of our control. All right, we are gonna need 2 pieces of soft succulent cardstock for this. One is the lid and one is our base. We're gonna start with our base first, and here is my little template that I created. So we're gonna be putting this together. So we're going to need a piece of soft succulent cardstock. This is 7 3/16. Now, if you're not too familiar with what a 16th is, on your Stampin' trimmer, the line right before the 1/4 inch is the 16ths, 3/16. So 7 3/16 by 7 3/16. And we're gonna use our scoreboard here. And we're gonna score all 4 sides at 2.5. If you aren't too familiar with the scoreboard, this is in our annual catalog, and every 1/8 of an inch is marked on here. So we are gonna score on all 4 sides at 2.5. So you just run your score marker down 2.5 on all 4 sides. Now, on 2 of the sides, you're gonna, well, all 4 sides, but you're not gonna score the entire thing down. You're gonna stop at the first score line, and we're gonna score at 2 inches. So we're gonna go down to the first score line. The easiest way that I have found to do this to make sure that down here is scored at 2 inches is to flip it completely over and score at 2 inches there. It doesn't matter what side your peaks and valleys are on, but then we're gonna rotate, and so our first score lines are over here, and then we're gonna score again at 2 inches and flip and 2 inches. So we are creating little tabs on the bottom of our box. Maybe this side, you guys can see it a little better. So these are the 2 inch score lines that we just did. Right, now we're gonna cut. So move that off to the side. Bring in my scissors. I'm gonna bring in my big scissors here as well. So we're gonna cut, here's our template. I use this so I know exactly what to cut. So from that 2 inch score line that we did, we're gonna cut this little box that's been created here. So our 2 inch score line cut right there, and then our tab, so it'll have a tab that we're gonna cut out in just a minute. So cut that 2 inch score line and cut this whole box out. Now you can reuse this cardstock for other projects, so don't throw that away. Just put it in your scrap pile, and you can use it on like a punch or a die. So don't get rid of that cardstock just because we're not using it on this project. Oh, my mom's watching. Hi, Mom. She is in Adel, Iowa. My sister had her baby, Thursday, Mom? I think it was Thursday of last week. Early in the morning. So I got to wake up to the news that I'm an aunt again, but now this time to another nephew. So he's so cute. All right, we are now going to cut this little, so we have this little score line here. We're gonna cut this just to put a little notch in that right there so that our tabs here can be folded in So we're gonna cut there and there. And now we're gonna make little notches. So all you do is just cut a little angle there, cut a little angle there, and here, and here. So you just cut 4 little notches, and this will help hold your box together and make it fold easier. With it being slightly smaller than the rest of the box, it is just easier to put it together when you have these little notches. All right, there we go. So there is our base. Now I'm gonna use my bone folder to burnish all of my lines, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fold everything in. So I'm just gonna flip and fold, flip and fold, flip and fold, and here, and then our last fold. Now on all of these tabs, as they go in, we're gonna use tear and tape. If you've never used tear and tape before, it is perfect for putting boxes together. There's no dry time, it's not messy, and it is just quick and simple to be able to put them together, and you don't have to use scissors to cut it because it tears very, very easily from the roll. And it has a strong hold too. You won't find that your boxes come apart. So I like to use this on lots of treat boxes for the holidays, so that they don't come apart if I make them earlier than anything else. Okay, we're gonna take your pick tool and peel off the layer of adhesive. The take your pick tool works really well for that because it gets right under there. And then you're just gonna line up your score lines to create this cute little base for your milk topper. Take your pick tool again, peel off that layer of adhesive here. And then these are just gonna fold and go on the inside. If you get some adhesive that hangs off the edge, you can just kind of roll it down and it'll easily just close there. All right, and then our last piece here to create our base. Now on my base, you could see that I have done these little indentations. This will help it go into the bottom of the milk box just a little bit easier. If you keep it the same size, you kind of struggle, you know, getting it in there. So if you just kind of push on the edges of the box, it will create that little diamond shape as it goes in. And we're gonna do the same thing on the top, but you just push that in and it'll help it go into the topper a little bit easier. All right, next are tops. So here's my guide for that. Where's my cardstock? Right here. So we have a piece of 4 inches by 9.5, and we're gonna bring in our scoreboard again. And for this one, now there's the short end of our cardstock and the long end of our cardstock. So for this one, I'm just gonna move that there so I can read it. We're gonna score on our short end, so our 4-inch side. We're gonna score at 5/8 and at 2 1/4. We're gonna turn it to score on our long end at 2 1/4, 4 1/2, 6 3/4, and 9. All right. Now we're also gonna do a short score line right to that first score line here that we did at the 5/8 mark. We're gonna do this at 3 3/8, so just a short little score line, and 7 7/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Make sure I'm scoring in the right spot. Sometimes you just have to count. Now for this one, the only thing that we are going to cut is we're gonna trim off the little notches like we did on the base. We're just gonna cut little diagonal cuts here. And that's the only thing we're gonna cut on this one. All right, bringing in our bone folder, we're gonna burnish our score line. There's one line that'll be different than the others. So this one, top line here, we're gonna fold going towards myself, and we're gonna use our bone folder to crisp up that line. Now the rest of them, we're gonna fold in the opposite direction. So I'm gonna fold the base going the opposite direction. And then all these little boxes here that we have score lines for, they're all gonna go in the same direction. So score, and you're just going down the line and folding your paper at the score line. You can see how using the scoreboard really helps with creating these 3D projects. All right, here is our topper. Now we're gonna add a little bit of tear and tape right to this little piece. You can see there's this little tab. That's where we're gonna add our tear and tape. And we wanna put it as close to the score line as we can. So right there. Okay. Our take your pick tool is going to take off our adhesive. Now let me show you a really easy way to put this together, because if you try to line this up in the air, it just won't line up. So fold in one side. So here's our tab with the adhesive, and all you're gonna do is fold in the other side. Make sure it's all lined up, and then you can press it closed, and you may need to crisp up your lines just a little bit more here. And this is going to be our topper. Now we have these two little score lines that we did on either side here, and then all we're gonna do is pinch those and kind of make that little milk crate topper. So very easy for that part. And you can kind of crisp up the line here a little bit. Now this is where you're gonna need some arm strength. A hole punch just from your office supply store. We're gonna punch 2 holes. Here's the topper, and we've got our ribbon threaded through it. Now this part, if you have weak arms, you may need to get somebody kind of strong to do this, because you're gonna be punching through almost just about 4 layers of cardstock, depending on where you're gonna punch. So we're gonna line that up and two-hand punch there. And then same thing, a little farther apart from our other one. There we go. See, 4 layers of cardstock is kind of hard to punch through. But this is our milk crate topper. I've got some of this gold shimmer ribbon. Now, unfortunately, this is, after I made this, I realized it's on back order right now, so please forgive me, but we have some other gold shimmer ribbon in our catalog that will work just as well for creating. And I'm gonna take about 16 inches of ribbon. And it may seem like a lot, but it's best to have more ribbon than what you need than thread it through and realize you don't have enough. So this is what's gonna hold our topper together. So you want it to get it really tight as you wrap it through. All right, so we've got our ribbon pulled through, and then we're just going to pull this, and this is where it's gonna keep it all together. So you want it tight there, but you don't want to pull too tight because it could rip the holes. And then tie your bow. The bunny ears method will work perfect for this as well. And then pull the ears through, and then you can trim off the edge. So you can use less ribbon if you'd like, but for me it's just easier to be able to have a good grasp on that ribbon as I run it through to be able to pull it tight. All right, we're gonna add this to our base, and all we have to do now is decorate. So here's our undecorated little milk carton, and very, very easy to put together. All right, I have some pieces of that designer series paper. So we need 4 pieces at 1 5/8 by 2 1/8 and 2 pieces at 1 1/2 by 2 1/8. Now these are very, very similar in size. So just make sure that you're putting the correct size on the correct portion. Now the 2 smaller pieces at 1 1/2 by 2 1/8, those are going to be adhered to the top of our milk crate. So we're going to put 1 here, and it's going to be very small, so there will be not much room to work with. So that's why I like to use the liquid glue when I'm doing this, because if it's not lined up exactly where I want it, I can move the paper around onto my cardstock and get it right where I want it. All right, we're gonna flip it over and add the second piece of 1 1/2 by 2 1/8 to the topper of our milk crate here. Get another drink of water. Okay, and then the last 4 pieces are just gonna go around the outside. So this is the 1 5/8 by 2 1/8, and we're just gonna put that on all 4 sides. Okay, and then the liquid glue, like I said, you can, if it's not right where you want it, when you adhere it down, you have a little bit of time to be able to move it exactly where you want it. Okay, and then flip our 3rd piece here, right there, and then our last piece on this portion here. And if you get a little glue on your box, that's okay. You can easily cover it up with some designer series paper. There we go. So here is our box, decorated partially. Now we're going to stamp our sentiment. I've got a scratch piece of basic white cardstock, and we are going to use the soft succulent sentiment. So I can't get it to stand up, but you guys can see what it looks like from there. And we're gonna use the double oval punch. This is a great punch because it is a layering punch, so they work together. So the small oval will fit into the scalloped oval, and we're just gonna punch this out. Close up our ink so I don't get ink everywhere. And this is gonna be adhered down with Stampin' Dimensionals. I'm gonna offset it a little bit so that it hangs off the milk carton just a little bit from the edge. So with our dimensionals, you can move them more towards the inside so it doesn't get dimensional like on the back hanging off. So it's not sticky on the back there. And then the final touch, a little marquee gem down here in the lower right hand corner. It's gonna go right there. And that is, let's get this box together so you guys can see. This is our second project today, featuring the Eden's Garden Designer Series paper stamp set, coordinating gems, and this really fun gold shimmer ribbon. I hope that comes back into stock soon. I apologize, I didn't realize after I made this that it was on back order status, but we have some other gold ribbon that works just as well. Now before I jump off, I want to share with you some of the other projects that we made with this stamp set and designer series paper. Now this also features some new products coming to the January through June mini catalog that aren't in here, so even more sneak peek of some new products that are coming. So this is using the same brushed gold metallic paper. The sentiment is what is from the new stamp set that I have here today. Just a little bit of Wink of Stella there in the middle to make that middle of our stamps here pop, and that stamp actually is from the newest stamp set as well. So the stamp and the sentiment are both new, coming soon. So here is another project that we created. These are actually the Eden's Garden dies. So we die cut the metallic gold and this border here, but the sentiment is from an upcoming stamp set, and this uses those little gold cherry cobbler gems there. And then this is actually a spin on the project that we made for Makers Monday today. So same layout, just a little different products. So this sentiment and this image here are from the upcoming January through June mini catalog. But we have the cherry cobbler gems, that's still the same Eden's Garden brushed metallic, and then inside we did the same stamp that's out here too. So a little sneak peek of some new products that are coming soon. If you are a demonstrator, we're going to be able to pre-order those items in December. So quite a big sneak peek there for you guys. But these are our projects that we created here today. Let me know which one you guys like the most. I definitely think the milk crate is my favorite, with this little packaging that you can put some treats in for Christmas, a little table topper for Thanksgiving, or just something to gift to somebody to make their day brighter. So let me know which one you guys like the most. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed Makers Monday today, and I look forward to creating with you again next week. I hope you all have an amazing week, and I will see you next time. Bye!